It's just crazy. Like you said, then you're talking about sex, which is probably maybe a good time to talk about that. But then you're talking about the sanctity of it. I mean, that gets really deep into relationships and all that, which is, I mean, stuff that maybe that cortex isn't necessarily ready to grasp. So it puts you in a difficult situation these days, right? Because of these, I guess, digital files and digital devices where you have to have that conversation with people maybe before they're really ready.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're talking to kids, it's best to just use super simple language. It's like, this is special, and this is easy to access. And I think the more that you can make it very simple and very straightforward, and I think the challenge is that for most parents, it's uncomfortable for them. Maybe it's uncomfortable for the kid, but if the kid, is sort of doesn't really know a lot, it's not going to be super uncomfortable for them. It might be a little strange, like, oh, mom and dad had to talk with me. But use super simple language, and you're right, try and keep it within the context of what do I think my kid understands. And sometimes the best thing to do is to ask, to inquire, like, what do you know about? Have you ever heard of this word before? Have any of your friends ever used the word pornography? Have they ever talked about sex before? And sometimes that type of just opening the door for you and your child to have a conversation about what they already know might surprise you.
Yeah. Okay. That'll be happening on Sunday. Thanks for that. I still remember one of my first experiences with porn. I mean, look, I just turned 54. So there was obviously no internet back then, and it would have had to have been a videotape. And I remember I saw something, I was 14 or 15 was the first time I saw like video porn. And it really shocked. I wasn't ready for it. I was like, what the hell is that? It was really like, whoa. And, then back then you really would struggle to get access to like video stuff. And then when I got to the fraternity house, it was there, but we kind of moved on at that point. But, so I really don't have context to how much of a issue it is, today. And I know quite a few people that speak about this as well, including Sadia Khan. She's a friend of mine. She speaks on this kind of from her perspective, and she thinks it's one of the biggest problems out there,
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I've been working with men for a decade, over a decade now. And, my organization has worked with tens of thousands of guys, and I can tell you that it's a huge issue for a lot of men. And it's not every single man. Doesn't mean that every single man has a problem with porn, but the majority of people are watching it. Women are now watching it more as well. And I think for a lot of guys, because they find it so early, it does skew their perspective of what sex should look like, how they should perform in sex. And it kind of takes out the how do I want to operate, during sex part of it, and the exploration. And so, if you think about it, if a boy finds porn at, 8, 9, 10 years old, he hasn't even hit puberty yet. He can't even really do those things. So it really alters their perspective of, oh, this is what sex should be. This is how sex should look. And for some people, depending on when they find it, it can really replace real intimacy and sex in a relationship. I see a lot of couples struggling, when they struggle, the man, sometimes the woman, but oftentimes the man will just turn to porn. And so sex will start to decrease in the relationship because the guy's not really trying to initiate. He kind of falls into this pattern of like, what's the point anyways? Why should I bother? And then there's this, this thing that he can turn to that never rejects him, never turns him down, is always available. And so
what the London Real Investment Club actually does for you, it gives you the keys to open that door to the inside deals. In the last 3 weeks, I've participated in 3 incredible deals: a layer 2 Bitcoin protocol, an incredible AI protocol. The deal flow is beyond what I expected. I don't think I've ever seen a model like this that just gives average folks the opportunity to be behind the deals, and that's exactly what we've done. Not only that, you get to hang out with Brian Rose every week. And for me, that was huge because I look at Brian as somebody who's not only an expert in the space, and I think is on the leading edge, but just the leading edge of thought with London Real and the work he's doing there. To anyone who's taking a serious look at this, I know it's a big decision. It was a big decision for me and my family, and it is one of the best decisions I've ever made. So I wish you all the best and hope you come join us.
It's very easy access. And when you think about it, the average man, I mean, even a young guy can sit down and watch pornography for however long and see more naked women than pretty much any man throughout the course of the entire human history, right? The greatest kings in the past, you can watch pornography for an hour or two and see more women naked than any single man will have seen throughout his lifetime, throughout human history. And so I think it definitely, skews your sense because it just inundates your brain. It inundates your mind, and it alters your perspective of what sex should be.
I do struggle to see how it's a replacement for intimacy, digital files. I can see that there's a lot going on there with the brain and that it could be, and then also maybe if you started early, there could be some weird things going on. But again, I maybe there's a correlation with relationships going southwise with physical intimacy, but I personally don't see the causation or replacement. But then again, you see a lot more of this than me.
Well, can I speak to that just really
Please.
quick? I think that's probably important, which is, we're attachment-based creatures. I think we touched on this last time. Like we are relationship social creatures. And so we are literally designed and built to be in relationship with people. And we have very specific needs that we desire from relationships. And when we get into an intimate relationship and there's a part of that attachment that's not working, we as men are kind of very linear and logical, right? And so it's like, well, the rest of this relationship's okay, but the sex part really isn't there. And so I'll just go get that from over here. And so, one, it kind of solves a problem that we think that we have. And number two is porn kind of creates a pseudo attachment, and it mimics and sort of mirrors, and what you'll see in certain men's pornography usage behavior is that who they're talking to and the type of porn that they're watching is mirroring some type of connection that they're wanting in their relationship. It's some type of expression that they're wanting in their relationship. It's a part of them that they're wanting their wife or their girlfriend to know, but they're afraid to bring it in. They don't know how to bring it in. They feel like they're going to get rejected for bringing it up in their relationship, but they can go and do that in porn, or they can pay an OnlyFans girl to, shoot a video for them and do exactly what they want. So porn creates this pseudo attachment with almost zero risk and zero rejection, right? You can ask for and do and say whatever you want. And for the most part, you're going to quote unquote get your needs met. So I think that's why for a lot of people, it's very enticing. And then there's the neurochemical side of it, which is it creates a dependency. So the more that you watch it, the more you get a dopamine hit that basically incentivizes you to return to it. And what ends up happening for a lot of men is that porn turns into, I call it the great reset button, right? It's just like this beautiful reset button for your brain and your body. You feel like crap, you're angry, you're frustrated, you had a shitty day, you're stressed out, you feel alone, bored, depleted, whatever it is that you feel something internally and you're like, I don't like this, I don't like feeling like this. You can go watch porn, get off, and what happens in your brain is a whole slew of neurochemicals like dopamine, like prolactin will flow out through your brain, relax your body, make you feel good, wipe away that sort of angry tension, frustration that was there before, and you feel good for a brief period of time. Now, eventually that state will likely come back in because, your life hasn't actually changed. You've just watched some porn and got off. But it tricks your body into thinking, oh, this is a great way for me to feel better. And so for a lot of men, what ends up happening is this very subtle addiction starts to creep in where anytime they feel something internally that they do not like, porn is there to help them feel better, and they turn to it. And so for a lot of guys, what you'll see is, some men literally watch porn every single day. Some men watch porn in order to wake up in the morning and get out of bed. Some men watch porn in order to go to bed at night. And oftentimes in these, what I'm talking about is a little bit more extreme cases, but oftentimes in these more extreme cases, guys have built a dependency on pornography to help them deal with some type of internal state that they don't like. And that is no different than weed or, alcohol or cocaine or whatever it is, right? You do that substance to help you feel better internally and to feel like there's some type of connection. So we trade human attachments, we trade human relationships for these substances, objects, and behaviors. That's basically what addiction is, right? We trade relationship with another person with a substance, an object, or a behavior, and that becomes what we're attached to. So instead of being attached to you or my wife or whatever, addiction means I'm attached to this substance, object, or behavior instead of being in right relationship with somebody else.
Hey, I know investing in crypto is scary. It takes a real leap of faith because there are so many scams, rug pulls, and bad actors out there. It's a dangerous business, which is why 95% of people lose all their money. Well, that's why I created the London Real Investment Club, so you can access the hottest deals on the planet and use the crypto bull market to create the generational wealth that you deserve. Join my team of over 100 people from around the world that are making millions of dollars behind the scenes investing in blockchain, AI, Web3 games, DeFi, Bitcoin, and more. Don't miss out. Click the link below to book a call with one of my team now. But hurry, this bull market will end soon.
I know investing in crypto can be scary. That's why you gotta join the investment club. Pull the trigger. Let's do this.